Good morning, all. How are we all doing? Morning, Ian. Morning, Perspective Inc. Morning, Steve, Christian, Kennelly, Alistair, Amy, Yotko, Alan Bay, Franco. Morning, Virginia, Grateful Buster. Hit the like during the pre-show. Let's go back to the pre-show. Did you all do it? Good. Morning, Baggy, Shroud, Sunji. Morning, Gregors, Antonios. How are we doing? Right. Let's have a look at what's going on. Let's look at stuff. Right. So weekend-wise, start with the news. Powell did a 60-minute interview, apparently. So there's more friction kicking off in the Middle East with the Houthi rebels and stuff. Apart from bits and pieces of that over the weekend, not really an awful lot I could see that was of much interest. Powell had a few bits and pieces over the weekend, but there's nothing that didn't come out of the FOMC statement, basically, that he corroborated. Things like that. Unlikely the Fed will have the confidence for a March cut. So we were told we were going to go back to May, not March. So it's just reconfirming basically what we heard pretty much over the weekend over FOMC. So that was pretty much it for the weekend news. Nothing exciting at all happened there. This week, today, we've got the PMIs for the services PMIs this afternoon at 3. Tomorrow morning is the big one. This week, it's the Aussie rate announcement, 4.35. You can never tell with the Aussies and the New Zealanders, but very unlikely we will get a change. You never know, though. So we'll have to have a look at that one. But where am I going? Fundamentals. Oh, wrong one. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be much interest or anything different happening there, basically. If you look at the fundamentals for the Aussie, we're sitting on 4.35. We've been sitting on 4.35 for ages, the same as we have with everybody else. Their inflation is at 4.1 with a very large drop. Same as New Zealand. After these very large drops, we get a bounce. Yeah, so these guys have all had their large drops, and then we got the bounce. So we're expecting a bounce on CPI, which means they won't change that. So you need to keep the rates restrictively high until that inflation target gets very close to what you want, which is 2%. And then you start to cut those rates, but you want it virtually hitting it. It's kind of like slamming the brakes on just before you hit the wall type thing, and you have to slam them on quite often, fairly hard, and then inflation will bounce. But so yeah, so basically no real news tomorrow morning, I wouldn't expect. However, we might get something out of the rate statement. Market will move at 4:45 to 5 o'clock in the morning when the press conference finishes. That's when the forward guidance will be clear, if there is any. So that's the big one this week. We've got a few PMIs. We've got Macklem speaking tomorrow as well. And we've got unemployment rate for New Zealand dollar. So big news, Australasian. So Asia tomorrow morning and Asia tomorrow evening will be volatile. Wednesday, nothing. Unemployment claims for the US on Thursday, which really isn't much anyway. But the CAD unemployment rate. So that is the big one for Friday. So I would assume that the Canadians will fall in line with the US, i.e. if we see unemployment going up dramatically fast, we will drop rates sooner. They're forecasting a 5.9, very much the same as we were forecasting a 3.8 on the US, last week, and we got a 3.7. US dollar went absolutely crazy through the roof, didn't it, on Friday? So we may well get the same thing happening with this Canadian dollar this week. So very good mean reversion opportunities across the board on these. 4 minutes to go to the open. So that's this week's news. It's not particularly exciting, but wait and see what happens. Morning, everybody else. Evil, Day Trader, Thought Feeder, John, JC, Astro even. Joe, how we doing? So, banking-wise, pitiful banking towards the end of last week. 0.27 on Friday, sitting in 5.5 drawdown. Main thing is US dollar yen. Another position taken on Friday. That's H1M5 mean reversion. ADR reversals banked 2.5% on Friday. Big day. 1.5% drawdown. Nothing to bank today at the moment. Lots of positions on, obviously, because we had ADRs across the board. Huge ADRs, i.e. that one there. 110 pips on a 74 ADR. So we had 150s, quite a lot of them on Friday. So good mean reversion opportunities on all of these. Pulling back into the propulsion moves. Nothing today, though, at the moment. New Zealand dollar CAD's the closest. Somewhere in there. Just shy of ADR today. See if we can get that move there. And hedging, 2 minutes. Banked 3.5% on Friday, 4.2% bank, 8.04% this month so far. We're only on the 5th, 3.5% of drawdown, so absolutely killing it. Hedging. Pound Swiss, this is my smallest account as well. Typical, it's the one that has the smallest balance that does the biggest return on investment. Anyway, so yes, there's nothing really bankable at the moment on this. There's nothing really in any problems either. So, yeah, there we go. ADRs today. I've moved the ADR dashboard, by the way. So this is obviously the H1M5 mean reversion account. So we will look at RSIs on this one. And then this account is the ADR reversals account. So we'll look at ADRs on this one. So I've moved the ADR dashboard basically over into this account. So it all makes sense when we're talking about ADRs. We'll talk about ADRs on the ADR account, and H4 mean reversion we'll talk about on the mean reversion account. And as you can see, it's flat today. Right, indices. So market is opening in 40 seconds. Nice pre-market ranges on both today. So we'll get a trade on both today. What we got earnings-wise today? Where are we? 5th. So, they're all pre-markets Friday. So, pre-market today, we got Caterpillar, Estee Lauder, and McDonald's. Plantair Aftermarket, Ford, Gilead, Uber, PayPal, Alibaba. There's a few big names in there this week, but not as much. So we're coming out the back of the main earnings fortnight, or the biggest names, basically, earnings fortnight we've already had. So busy week for earnings this week, though. So we should get a decent amount of volatility in. And we've got low news as well. So the market will actually have probably decent traction this week. Long on the FTSE at the open. So as you can see, obviously from the charts, it's just an absolute sideways mess at the minute. We're bang in the middle of the range on the DAX. We're not far off on the FTSE either. So not going anywhere. Again, it's a story of our life at the moment. 80% of the time the market spends range bound. At the moment, it seems more like 95% of the time the market spends range bound, but no real traction, bullish traction at all. I think the market's just still waiting those interest rates. We want to know what's going on, but they're not telling us. Yeah, so we'll see where we go today. So bear with me 1 sec. Long on the DAX as well. So DAX, we've obviously got a gap fill play today. So we're gap down on the DAX. So that's where we closed. So we should be able to come up and get that gap done at some point today, hopefully. If it doesn't, obviously, then there's a gap play for later on in the week for a mean reversion, but we'll see. So far, doesn't look like there's any volume. Breakout strategies is very hard to trade when nobody's bothering to put any volume into the market. Morning, Femba. Morning, Mark. So we'll have a look through all the FX pairs today because there's no RSIs to look at. There's only one ADR to look at today. So we just wait for the open to finish, and then I'll go and have a look through every FX pair today and see if there's any decent opportunities for anything. Because in lots of opportunities at the moment, got lots of exposure on, but there's no signals to get into mean reversion at the moment. So we're just waiting for stuff to play out from last week, but we'll have a look through every pair, see where everything is. Got 73 people in here. I'm going to check up on you. 27 likes. 27. That's terrible. That's way less than half of you like me. Makes me sad. $32. It's nearly half. What have I done to the rest of you? Why don't you like me? 33. $33? Oh, come on. Right, I'm not playing this game anymore. Get thumbing, people. No, don't get thumbing. By the way, if you're new in here, what this means is hit the like button. Just in case I just suddenly thought, why has this idiot got John Wick saying smack that thumb? Maybe people don't get it. I don't know. Maybe I should turn it into a big blue thumb so that it looks like a Facebook thumb. Then people would get it. Anyway. There's no volume today, is there? At all. This thing's dead. So FTSE's pulled back from the pre-market range high. Okay. Not a lot we can do this morning. So we just have to wait and see what happens in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. But at the minute, there's literally no volume this morning. So might just go straight into a hedge on the FTSE. And we've got a very nice last week's low here. We've rejected this area multiple times. So very nice downside target on the FTSE. If it does decide to hedge and go short, obviously upside targets today is going to be ADR and last week's high, because that's literally all it's doing. Here we go. We're trying to go again. I'm just going to move my my TP down into just inside 2R. So I'm going kind of 1 3/4 R on the first position, just to bring me inside that where we closed on Friday, basically, just in case we just go into a rotation today, because we're probably going to just go immediately wherever the limit orders. There's always orders at the highs, there's always orders at the lows, and there's quite often orders at the open and closes as well. So I just don't want to get rejected out of there and just sit in it for an hour and a half. I'd rather get out and be done on that one. So target ever so slightly lower. There you go. FTSE's new high of the day. Okay, we're off. Just moving target down ever so slightly on the FTSE as well. We've got this weekly level. So just in case, There's orders sitting there to sell that level. Get out just shy of that. In fact, just a little bit closer, just in case the spread doesn't get me out. Right, we'll come back to that in a minute. So, ADRs, there's not a lot today. Morning, everybody else. Chucks, Harold. Maybe they just turn on the screen and make coffee. I know, Themba. Just not interested, are they? 49, that's better. There's 80 people in here now, 50 likes, that's good. Obviously, there's a delayed reaction. I must be on a super delayed stream. Morning, Neo, Sarah, Johannes, it's time, morning. Right, so ADRs, there's only the one today, New Zealand dollar Swiss so far. So this is not really an ADR. You have to be careful of these with the New Zealand dollar pairs, with the Asian pairs, basically, especially on a weekly swap. Have a look at the the broker shenanigans this morning. So that's where we closed. We decided to open up and spread down to here today. So this basically whole thing here, which is 18 pips, which is half an ADR. Yeah, this is ADR and this is 39. So that's half an ADR there, not real price action because it's just the broker spreading at the open. So I wouldn't really class that as an ADR hit today. I'd want to go a little bit further than that. So I just kind of ignore that one. You can take it if you want to. I mean, it's obviously pushed up quite nicely anyway, but assume that that's only really half an ADR done there. So there's nothing much to look at really on the ADRs as well. That's the only one we've got. There's nothing getting close at the moment either. Scanning down. Euro pound's not too far away. Oh, it's already come back. So ADR on that, missed it. Not far. There's nothing much else to look at there at all, is there? No. Okay. So I'll just be monitoring these today. Just looking to bank all these mean reversions. So there's a lot of positions on here. Obviously, with Friday, we had a lot of ADR hits. So Aussie CAD, you know, we had all these, anything Canadian dollar or US dollar related. Obviously, we had that massive push. So mean reversions on all of these. In fact, I need to quickly go through these and set targets up. What's 1% on this account? 0.5% on this account. It's going to be about 160 odd, 150 odd. Okay, so just going to put some targets on, you know, 125 ADR, just in the propulsion gap somewhere, basically on most of these. Aussie US. There's obvious support there. So just go shy of that, just to try and grab that one. CAD Swiss. Short, back to propulsion. CAD Yen. Propulsion. Euro CAD. That's multiple positions on that one, isn't it? Targeting at the moment that propulsion gap, so no change, same target. Targeting push up into propulsion. Euro US, single position. Just go shy of ADR, somewhere halfway in that move. Pound US. Oh, get the order. Oh, that's not the order, that's the average. Right, okay, two positions on this one. I'll target the base of the propulsion gap. New Zealand dollar CAD. Got that one in already. New Zealand dollar US dollar. ADR. US dollar CAD. Short. It's targeting down there. US dollar Swiss. Two positions on that one. So I can target the top of the propulsion gap. And US dollar yen. First position propulsion target. There we go. So all I'm doing with all of these moves from Friday is assuming that worst case scenario, this is going to be a continuation rally. And if it's a continuation rally, this is the order that the banks pulled back into. So this is what propulsion gaps are, basically, is a large order being placed by the banks. Yeah. Sellers, or the profit take move starts, pushes back, and then they continue the rally. So this whole area here is nothing but buyers. There are no sellers in there because the sellers tried to come back. That's as far as they can get. They got pushed back by the buyers. So this whole area here is full of buyers. So we're assuming that we're going to retest this area. Worst case scenario, they hit the top of it and they bounce straight off exactly the same as they did last time. Yeah. It could also obviously completely fill that gap straight away this week, and this was a completely fake move, but we don't know what it was. So that is achievable. That's more tricky. That's a hell of a lot more tricky, but all three of those could play out. We don't know which. Because that's all it ever does, go up and down. Where it's going, I don't know. Who does? No one. Because we haven't got a crystal ball. So those are all targeted. So just wait and see if that lot plays out at some point today. Nothing to bank there. I haven't got any targets set on that. I'm just checking this manually, basically, at the moment. I have actually banked on this today. Let's have a quick look at what we banked on hedging. Have banked. What's the date? 5th. Euro US today. Yeah, just banked a sell order with 0.3%. There we go. Just because we can. Don't know quite why I targeted that. Why did I target that area for? Basically, obviously with this hedging strategy, with the version of this strategy that I was running on auto last year, was designed to get out at half an ADR or 0.25%, I think it was, or 0.5% or something. There was a position, there was a target set, basically. I'll have to have a look at the set files. But basically it makes sense if you are long only. There is no hedge on. Yeah. So the idea of the hedging strategy is, regardless what happens, if we get a reversal, we get in. We just get in when there's a reversal, i.e. we just jump on board with whoever's pushing the market at the moment. If that doesn't work out, we jump on board with the guys when they start pushing it back the other way. But it makes sense with these. If you've got a position long only and it's sitting in 0.25% to 0.5% of profit, just take it. There's no point in trying to get a run. Just keep banking and banking and banking and banking. This, it was 0.3%. Just take it. What's going to happen next? We're going to get a reversal alert long. So we'll jump on long. And then that will either play out or it won't, and we'll scale in. So I'm just kind of just banking stuff regularly, as you can see. Whenever it's getting into a half decent amount of money, which is, 0.25% to 0.5% or so, just stick it in the bank. So I was just trying to figure out why I put that target down there. And it was probably just a case of, well, we had a long on it. We had a short there. We had a long there. I got out the long on that move. So if we can get out of the short, get out of it. No logic. Just if you can be flat, brilliant. If you're flat with money in the bank, it's the job, isn't it? So anyway, not quite sure exactly why I targeted that, but it was obviously just a percentage. Let's have a quick look at what's going on before we look at the FX. T1 hit on the FTSE. So that was the target. That's where the candle ended. I reckon, knowing brokers in general and my broker specifically, let's have a look. That was the target that was set. That was where price got to. That is the swap. That wouldn't have hit, would it? So I'm glad I moved my TP. So yeah, TP out on the nice clean break on the FTSE, trailing second half at 2R. Second half target is ADR today. Let's go for it. It's achievable, isn't it? So Looking to push those highs basically. So if we can get to ADR, I'll get out. If we can get some kind of nice big strong rally up there today, brilliant. If not, I'll just get out on the trailer wherever I get out. And looking at the price action at the moment, I suspect it'll probably be in the next 10 minutes because that's the way this market's going at the moment. FTSE still long. Just waiting. Right. FX. So there's no RSIs to look at on the 4 hour. There's no RSIs to look at on the hourly. So we're just going to go through everything today and have a look at where everything is. Is this your prop firm account? No, I don't trade prop. This is my money, my accounts. Shroud, it's written on the charts, mate. Everything you've just asked is written on the charts. ADR reversals. Can you not read that? Might be a bit small. That's why I put it there, so everyone knows what I'm doing. Still using MT5 for the propulsion targets. You just move the pair on the chart and it's done. Mine takes at least 10 seconds for each chart. Yes, FTNet. That's because you're using MT shit. Sorry, MT5. Sorry. Don't use it. It's bollocks. The whole thing, the whole platform is broken. Use MT4. I'm not going through it again. I go through it every week. MT5 is terrible. MT4 is amazing. I can do this on MT4 and it updates instantly. On MT5, I'm not going to show you, but if I did that on MT5, it would come up with a white screen with the pair on it saying loading. Then it would load the chart. Then it would load the indicators. Then when you've come back from making your cup of tea, if the indicators have loaded, you can then analyze the chart. But if you switch time frames, you have to go make another cup of tea because it will take another 10 to 15 seconds to update because it's crap. There's nothing wrong with the indicator. Yeah. The indicator on MT5 and MT4 are identical. Same number of lines of code, exactly the same code in exactly the same way. Few variables changed, few commands changed because it's slightly different on MT4 and MT5. Other than that, it's just MT5 is unable to process stuff. It's a high intensity graphical user interface that uses one core of your processor to do everything. Although I have 28, it only uses one. Yeah. It's just crap. Rant over. I don't care if you've spent $50 on MT5. Go and spend another $50 on MT4. It's worth it for your sanity. Or better still, if you're in here and you're new and you're thinking about it, don't use MT5. Just don't use it. Where's Amy? She uses MT5. Can't stand it. It depends what you're using, obviously. Some indicators are fine. Any indicator on MT5 that requires very small amount of calculations will have no problem at all. The support resistance propulsion indicator is going back 1,500 candles. Every time you load a chart, it has to scan back 1,500 candles and look for the gaps. Then it has to decide, have those 1,500 candles been invalidated by market moving through it? Yes? Okay, let's draw them in a different color. Yeah, see how quick I did that? That's about the speed it does it in MT5. Look how fast it does it in MT4. I couldn't even click my fingers by the time it's done it. It's the same thing. Shit, MT5, just don't use it. How to turn off the sound? Sorry, Shane, do you not like my voice or something? What? I don't know. Amy, MT5 forever. Yeah. Good morning, investors. There's none of them in here, Mimpo. We're traders. If you want to invest, go and look at the daily charts. Don't blame me if you only make 4% a year. Right. Monday mornings. Let's start with Aussie dollar CAD. Let me just quickly see if the DAX has rallied. Nope, stuck. Brilliant. Right. So, Aussie dollar CAD. So this week's news, obviously, we need to be aware of what's coming up. the main things we're going to move this week are the Australasian pairs. So the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar have both got unemployment rate and interest rates tomorrow. So it's going to be a fairly big day for the Australasian pairs. Canadian on Friday. But apart from that, it's very weak news all week. So this week, basically, anything can move anytime it wants to, just purely based on bank orders and volume of movement. So there's nothing that's going to really kick the market this week, apart from the Australasian pairs. So they shouldn't really affect the European and the US pairs very much. So what we will find is really anything you look at right now, you can analyze quite nicely from a technical perspective without the fear of news throwing it out. Apart from the Aussie pairs. So we'll start off with the Aussies, obviously, because they're the ones which have got the news coming up this week. How many candles is the reverse alert indicator scanning backwards? It doesn't work that way. So yeah, it's not doesn't work historically like that. Different thing. So basically, Aussie dollar CAD, we've had a week down. We had an extension on Thursday last week, straight in, straight out, H1M5 mean reversion entry and exit. It is in a downtrend at the moment against the Canadian dollar, basically, but the Aussie is pretty weak overall. So there's no RSI. If you get an RSI extension on it, it's worth taking. You see I've only had 2 trades on it in the last month, that one and that one, both straight in and out. It's done, dusted, very easy. We've got a nice area of support we're kind of playing around with here, which is this old high, low, low bounce. It's this area here, basically. So there's a chance that we might sort of push up into this propulsion gap before we do anything else. But as you can see, it's not. This is going back now to October. We haven't really gone anywhere. It's mainly range bound. So be interesting to see what happens with the news tomorrow. So tomorrow, obviously, we've got the Aussie dollar news, and that's going to potentially kick it in one direction or the other, but it might just whipsaw and do nothing. But at the moment, more long than short because there's propulsion targets to the upside to fill. Aussie dollar Swiss coming out of propulsion gap. Been tested 3 times now and rejected. So nice looking little short. Just play it down into there, really, but nothing much else. We've got propulsion targets to the upside to go for as well. Swiss franc at the moment is basically the euro, as you can see, is all over the place. And the Swiss franc moves with the euro. So there's not really a lot going on with the euro. Therefore, there's not a lot going on with the Swissy either. So really, this can... anything at the moment, you can really trade in any direction. There's nothing that's got any real strength or weakness anywhere. So it's a case of you can see it's very clear. Look, every RSI extension in, out, in, out. Yeah, it's just in, out. So I didn't take that one because it wasn't extended enough. But it's so easy at the moment to trade because all stuff's doing is just wafting around. There's nothing moving with any strength. So look for support resistance areas. There's a nice little support coming up down there, which is ADR today. We've probably already tested that and rejected. So that reversal that we've just had could well just push all the way back up into here. Yeah, just moving up and down and up and down. So if we get decent news on the Australians tomorrow morning, if the press conference comes out and they're like, we're not going to increase our interest rates any further, but we're also not going to reduce our interest rates for 4 to 6 months, Australian dollar up. If they come out and say, it's all going great, mate, inflation's going up, but we don't care, we're going to drop our rates anyway, this thing's going to be down there somewhere. Or the other. So we'll see. But at the moment, it's just not going anywhere. It's flip-flopping around. More of a long than a short, I would say, because we've got propulsion targets to the upside, specifically that one there, which we have tested 3 times. So we know they're selling hard out of that area. There'll be people caught offside in there, banks that will want to come back and rebalance up that area. So I'd be more long than short at the minute. Aussie dollar yen. These yens just sideways. There's nothing you can do with the yen. Yen interest rates are going to increase at some point. They're very much same thing at the minute. at some point. We don't know when. They're not giving us any clues. So I would rather be that way on everything yen at the moment. So shorting everything against the yen, because when that yen interest rate does go to zero, we're off. But they're just not giving us any clues. Very hard one to trade at the moment. You bang in the middle of the RSI. There's no strength in either direction. You've got good propulsion targets to the upside and to the downside. So that could go absolutely anywhere. Doesn't matter which way you go. It's likely to do that. So get in. If you're right, get out. If you're wrong, scale in and then get out. Just wait. It's just the way you've got to play it at the minute. Nothing on the Aussie New Zealand sideways. We've got a lovely range bounce and reversal alert went in on Thursday last week. So we had that lovely reversal and retest straight up into propulsion. They sold that. Target to the upside, but could go either way. Anything you trade on these Aussies, you basically need to be aware, obviously, that it could go either way tomorrow morning. Yeah, so they could rally the crap out of it. They could absolutely dump it tomorrow. It could well just do that. We don't know. But you got to be prepared for a potential fundamental shift coming up on one of these at some point. At some point, someone is going to say, yeah, we're changing. One of them is going to take us by surprise, I think. So could be the Aussies. You know, if you look at the Australian, the historical on the Aussie, they are not unknown to shock us. Yeah, we had a shock there. 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 Yeah, they do this. They do change. We don't get a lot of information coming out of the RBA. So there is potential for them to be the first to move. However, tomorrow, I'd be very surprised because their inflation is the second highest in the world. So if they drop rates tomorrow, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Doesn't mean they can't put rates up. They are still below 5%. So there is still room up. Yeah. So, and if that happens, the Aussie's taking off. So you've got to be a little bit careful with these Australasian pairs, basically. Aussie US, total sideways. We've just broken out on the news on Friday. So obviously everything at the moment against the US dollar and the Canadian dollar is along. Because obviously we're looking for a mean reversion into there. So it remains to be seen as to whether this is actually a real move. I don't necessarily think it is. Same as the pound. There was no reason really for that much movement on Friday. Yes, it was good that unemployment didn't go up, but it's not that good. Because it's sort of to do with interest rates at the moment. So we're coming down to a nice area of support in this, in the form of this propulsion gap here. Which we bounced off of this morning. So push up into there somewhere, but then obviously it could continue down. But again, that's going to be dependent on what happens tomorrow morning, isn't it? So any of these Aussies, really, you just got to be a bit careful today. And again, same with everything. If you've got any Aussie exposure and any of it is in profit, I haven't got any Aussie or New Zealand on at all at the moment. But if you have, and it's sitting in green, bank it before the news because you won't be able to get it back. It could go your way, yeah, but it also could go against you. If it goes against you, you can't get it back and you've got to deal with a drawdown. So bank it if you got it. So that's the Aussies. CAD Swiss, totally sideways, nice resistance bounce, nice propulsion. So this is your high from last week. We've tapped into that this morning and they seem to have sold it off again. This is this high here and this propulsion gap. So this big, strong push down we had, we tested it, we tested it, we tested it, we're testing it again. If it breaks that level, you're looking at an ADR hit to short from there, or it's just going to come down and undo this. So the question at the moment with all of these CADs and all these US is, are we going to fill the propulsion gap straight away or not? Yeah. So there's a good example here of not. Yeah. So that is akin to the sort of move that we had on Friday. It either comes back and does in this case, it would have been a V-shaped recovery, or we muck about and we come back and fill it a week or so later. But virtually all the time, we will come back and fill these big gaps, unless there's a fundamental shift. Friday was not a fundamental shift. That was just slightly better than expected unemployment rate. And the Fed have said that we're linked to unemployment rate, but not in that way. So there's no reason for this not to undo these moves. So basically, nice little short opportunity potentially down into propulsion from the ADR reversal on Friday, which I've already got on that CAD Swiss short. Yeah, so I'm short from that, targeting propulsion. If it doesn't work out, we'll be scaling into a second position there, move the average up and get out when it comes back down. CAD yen, beautiful double or triple top, really. There's a double top there, and we've double topped it again today. We're in the middle of a range. Well, we're in a range at the moment. So we're right at the top of the range. So easy move back into propulsion if it's going to potentially have that reversal alert there, cause bullish market structure. If not, come back down and target this level. But everything against the yen, eventually down. Swiss yen, same thing. What the hell can you do with that? I mean, the total movement there is 224 pips. This is a 115 ADR. So literally all it's been doing for the last month is bouncing to ADR. Yeah. So short the highs, buy the lows. Don't blame me if they change the rate announcement and you're down there if you've gone long. I'm just not interested in it at the moment. It's going, this is the worst pair in the world, isn't it? It's just a nightmare. The only thing you can do with this is short that and buy that. So if it gets up towards ADR today, sell it. If it gets down towards 150 ADR today, buy it. It won't do either of them. Euros, we'll have a look at those. Let's have a quick look at the FX. Okay, DAX is approaching target. Trying. For those who wants to mute must ask, I hope to see your face for the whole year. Was glad when you started showing your face. What? Those who wants you mute must ask, I hoped to see your face for the whole year. Was glad when you started showing your face. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I didn't used to be on camera when I was streaming. That's what you're talking about. Morning, Leshy. You're late. Yeah. No, the worst pair in the world is pound odd. We'll have a look at pound odd in a minute, AZ. Let me just see if I hit target on this. Oh, come on. It's not even ticking, look. Literally, it's not even ticking. There's that little volume today. Screw it. Go on, just pop up. You're not going to do it, are you? I can't be bothered with it. It's just take the money this morning. It's just not got any volume. This could easily just come down and just do this all day. I just want out, and if you push down, get me out, be done. It's not worth playing around with it today. There's no volume. You can't. This is a momentum breakout strategy. There's no momentum. It's just about barely broken out. Just walk away. It's not doing anything today. Right, pound odd. We'll get to pound odd in a minute. Euro odd is virtually the same as the pound odd. So this will give you some clues. So Australian dollar tomorrow obviously is going to affect the pound odd, the Australian, the euro odd, and everything else odd, basically. So at the minute we've double topped this morning, and yeah, looking for a kind of push back down on this. So we are just in a massive kind of weird rangey thing at the minute. The market is doing this all the time. We spend days and days and days just doing nothing. We get a news event and then we spend a couple of days figuring out what to do with that news event. and then we undo the news event. Yeah, prime example, similar move to what we had on Friday. Yeah, came up, retested it, they sold it again, came up, retested it, they sold it again, filled the gap. Yeah, which is, there's just no reason for the market to literally go anywhere at the moment. So all it's doing is either coming straight up and filling the big propulsion gaps after it's retested them, or it's taking a few weeks to do the same thing, which is, you know, what we do, isn't it? So we push down, go long. If you didn't get out on that, you scaled into it and you got out when it got up there. So yeah, just right now, you're bang in the middle of no man's land. This could go either way. So short-term wise, just taking any trades that get RSI extensions, like that one there. Yeah, wait for something to actually happen. So again, tomorrow morning, we could have a shock. We may not. So, but right now it's stuck. So nothing much you can do with it. It's a nice little short at the moment. M5, you've had a reverse alert on that this morning. Then we retested. So structure's looking like it wants to carry on short today, but I'd be very surprised if we get a lot of movement on any Australasian pairs today. They're going to wait for the news tomorrow. Euro CAD, we are down at these lows. Got one long on this one. This is an H1 RSI extension from last Monday. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So I got into this last Tuesday. We haven't gone anywhere. We've basically come and retested this propulsion gap 3 times. We've just formed a range below the previous range. So looking for a push up into that propulsion gap. If that fails, we'll be pushing back down. Quite tricky to find a level on this, isn't it? There's places it could bounce down here, but so there's an obvious support area coming up there. We've got resistance there as well, which could well turn into another support. So we've got that area there, this area here. So somewhere around those 2 areas, potentially for a bounce. So we're looking at ADR. If it drops, we're looking at ADR to the downside and somewhere between 225. So if this long from here doesn't work up into that propulsion gap, we'll break down. That will give us a new propulsion gap there. Another trade will be taken down there. The average will drop, and I'll get out on a retest of that level. But it's not going anywhere, so stuck. It is a long at the moment. There's no news catalysts for this week either. So with the euro this week, and we've got, obviously, anything US is going to move the Canadian dollar, but we've got the CAD unemployment rate on Friday, so we've got to wait until Friday, basically. But lovely propulsion targets to the upside. So we know that they're selling this area. So that will be 3 big targets to the upside. And I think we're going to undo this US move. And if we undo the US move, that's going to weaken the Canadian dollar, which will allow the euro to rally against it. So that still looks good for a long. One sec, just adjusting over here. I've got a clicking problem with my mouse. Euro Swiss. Got 2 longs on this one at the moment. This was a nice short previous, turned into a long. We didn't get any pushback. We just got a continuation, then a drop on news. So 2 positions taken on this one. Averages there. I'm targeting that propulsion gap. However, this is one I'll keep an eye on when we get to this level here. So this is a previous resistance. We slammed straight through it. We retested it. They bought it up again, bought it up again. They kept buying that level. And then finally, we slammed through it, retested it, and dropped. So this is a very strong support resistance area at 150 ADR. So this is the original position, basically. So I'm targeting that propulsion gap at the moment. However, if price pushes up into that area there and we get to 125 ADR, I will probably just take it off, because there'll be enough profit on that one, and I'll just take a tiny little loss on the second, and then obviously we're out. So looking to target that area up there. But I'm going to leave it. You know, if we're sitting sort of around here, we might get a nice little spike up into that area. So, but that's obviously the only target to the upside at the moment. So that's where I'm going. Euro pound, totally sideways for the entire last week. 2 trades on this that I took off and took profit on because we're not going anywhere. It's a symmetrical triangle at the minute. Yeah, so we just can't draw this morning. So we're contracting at the moment into symmetrical triangle. So we will break in one direction or the other. We've got no news on these guys this week, though. So this could quite possibly turn into one of those symmetrical triangles that peters out into a range. I'm long from back a while ago, actually. So first entry was all the way back up there in January, right at the beginning of January as well. That was the 3rd of January. We didn't get a bounce. It's dropped slightly, second position taken. We went sideways for a week and a half. We had a news event, and we went sideways for about a week. We dropped down ever so slightly and went sideways for 3 days. We had a news event. We've gone sideways. Yeah, it's literally just range, news, range, news. All we want is range, news. Just want one piece of news that is either negative pound or positive euro. That's all I want, and I'll be out. Look at the average. It's 150 ADR. We can hit that easy. Just can't get any news on our side, and the market's not interested in any kind of price action in any other way, shape, or form at the moment. So at the moment, I'm going to move my target down just in case we do get any news that is of any shape or form positive for the pair, and I just get out of it because it's just costing a fortune in swaps to hold it. So that, I would imagine, is probably just about a break even on this. Because by the time we get there above the average price, the amount of swaps I've paid will probably even that out. So it's just can't get out of it. It's just not going anywhere. Euro yen, like all the other yens, I'd much rather be shorting everything against the yen at the moment. I've had 2 shorts on it this month or last month. Nice easy ins and outs off the RSI extensions. But yeah, not really going anywhere. Haven't been going anywhere for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Very, very, very minimal price action. It is bearish slightly, but all these yens, since we had that initial drop where they were like, yes, we're going to change the interest rates, we haven't mentioned it, have we? So it's just waiting. We're waiting on all these yen pairs for them to decide something, which they're not at the moment. So Euro New Zealand, sideways. There's a theme building here, isn't there? Literally, it's in the middle of nowhere. We've had a reversal long, retest, gone nowhere, new high. So structure is nice. We got low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We're looking for a higher low in this propulsion gap to come and put a higher high in. But look at the movement. Yeah, if it does that, you're looking at like 3/4 of an ADR. That's literally all you're getting out of it. So you're going to be in it. You're going to be holding it for days just to get out of a single trade. Sideways mess. There's just nothing going on with any of this stuff at the minute. Euro US, that obviously pulled down. So these are all mean reversion opportunities to get out on those pullbacks. And as you can see, it's literally all it's doing. Drop, push, drop, push, drop, push, drop, push, drop, push, drop. There's no reason for it to do collapse because the news on Friday was not enough to collapse the US, to rally the US dollar. They're dropping the rates. So just mean revert it. If it doesn't work out at that level, look for a bounce off the monthly low. Then we're looking at this area here, which is about 150 ADR. So if you get in there and that doesn't work out, have another go there. If that doesn't work out, have another go there. It will work out at some point because there's no real reason for the US to be that strong. There's no reason the euro is going to be weak either. So again, just waiting for something to move the market. So all we're doing at the minute is we're sitting, waiting for some news to move the market. That's literally all we do. And at the moment, there's just no news. There's too much going on in the Middle East. Everybody's scared of. No one's willing to put any risk on the table. It's just what we got to deal with, which is, you know, it's hard work pulling money out at the minute. Right, AZ's favourite, pound odd. Going to make you wait for another second. Out the DAX, Perfect entry. Look, exit. That's what I was worried about. Just not going anywhere. So yeah, out the DAX, tiny profit. So going to bank a couple of $100 this morning. That's all. Right, pound odd. So yeah, stuck sideways at the moment. So we had this massive rally on the pound, and then since then we've gone absolutely nowhere. So beginning of this year, well, that was January. So that was the beginning of the year. Sorry, yeah, January. So we had the rally in January. We've just basically pushed up and gone sideways for weeks now. So yeah, it's a lovely double top or triple top going in at the moment. But this is what's going to do it for you tomorrow. It's either going to rally that Australian dollar, in which case happy days, or it's going to dump the Australian dollar, or it's going to do exactly what we see most of the time, which is absolutely nothing. So the trouble with the pound odd at the moment is you've got such a long way to go until the next levels of resistance on it. It's this area here that we are playing around with at the moment. This area here. Let's draw it on properly rather than trying to hand draw. So it's these levels here that we're just playing with at the minute. Yeah. So yeah, we're tapping into these two zones at the moment. So either this is going to remain as the high, low, and then we mucked about, put a new low in. Now we've put a new high in. We're bang in the middle of that range. So there's absolutely no way to tell which way it's going. It's flat, it's dead, it's just stuck. It's had this rally off the pound, but there's nothing you can do with it. So it's just a case of waiting at the moment on the pound odd. Not going anywhere. As you can see last week, I mean, last week we put a move in from there to there. So if you measure that, we did 115 pips. 108 is ADR. So we literally did an ADR. And then the week before, we opened there, we closed there, which is 37, which is just over a quarter of an ADR. So for 2 weeks, we've literally moved 1 1/4 ADR. Can't do anything with it. Stuck. So yeah, that will be tomorrow morning, the Australian dollar. We'll see where that one goes. But I mean, it's obviously got a lot more downside potential that it has up. So, but you know, there's absolutely nothing you can say that is bullish or bearish about the pound at the moment. There's absolutely nothing you can say that's bullish or bearish about the Australian dollar at the moment. Everybody is in exactly the same boat. We are all frozen interest rates. We are all waiting for inflation to get down towards that 2% target. Until one of those two things changes, nothing's changing. So the market will just go where the market will go, and it will flip-flop and amble around. So you've just got to take advantage on these sorts of things of aggressive drawdown control positions. So you had an entry this morning on an aggressive drawdown. Well, it didn't actually. If it gets to ADR today, that would be a lovely aggressive drawdown control. But, you know, don't get greedy with the aggressive. If you get an ADR out of an aggressive, exactly the same as I did on the pound yen. Look. Yeah, so that was the aggressive there. That was where I exited it. That was 178 pips. 124 is ADR. Yeah, so an ADR to an ADR and a bit. I mean, an ADR really. If you can get an ADR move, get out, because it's just not. We're not getting very far, are we? Unless there's a news event, we're not getting the ADR extensions. So just try and get an aggressive on and give it a decent wide berth, really. So if you got a hit there, get in aggressive, give it half an ADR as a stop. You know, if you had half an ADR as a stop, bear in mind this thing's moved 1 1/4 ADR in 2 weeks. Yeah, half an ADR, it's going to take days to hit that, isn't it? Realistically, unless you get a news event, obviously. So tomorrow, you know, if I'm thinking, if I'm in drawdown on something like this, I'm thinking tomorrow is an opportunity. Yeah. So if you get an aggressive drawdown control position on tonight, tomorrow morning, that will have either stopped out, fair play, or it will have got you out of the position. Yeah. So let's say, for example, tomorrow the Aussies come out and say, do you know what? 4.35, we need more. We're going up to 4.5 or 4.65. That's coming down. That'll be down at 200 ADR, 225, 250. Yeah. So think where it's going, when it's going, if it happens. If they come out tomorrow and say, we haven't got a clue what's going on, we're just going to wait, we'll get a whipsaw. So you might get an ADR, maybe an ADR and a quarter out of it. So if we were sitting here, for example, or somewhere around here towards the end of today, if you put a half an ADR stop loss on something aggressive, it's got to push on that news to get you out, isn't it? There's a good chance it'll work. It's a 50-50 shot. Every trade is a 50-50 shot. Use the news to your advantage. And also the other thing you can do is obviously leave your terminal on and put a trailing stop on it of half an ADR as well. So, you know, if you get a whipsaw, let's say for example, right now, you just take a short, aggressive drawdown control short, and you put your stop loss there at 125 ADR, measure that distance, put a trailing stop on it. If that thing screams down by the distance of your stop, yeah, you're going to go to break even on your stop. Then if it's just a whipsaw, you've lost nothing, but you've gained the opportunity to get into a big decent move, haven't you? Just got to be aware of overnight spread as well. It's an Australian pair. Look at the New Zealand today. We had half an ADR spread on the New Zealand overnight on the swap. So just be careful of that. You kind of need to be up at midnight. So that's pound odd, pound CAD. We're coming out of a bottom on the pound CAD. So I've got to along on this one, targeting propulsion off of the ADR extension on Tuesday last week. So we're testing this propulsion at the moment there, which is held so far, and it's holding so far today. So nice move up into there. If it breaks down, we'll be looking at this area here somewhere, which is 125 ADR. Scale in on that. But got the long entry on that last week. But we're bang in the middle of the range. So, you know, could go up to there and test that. Could come down to here and test this double monthly low. We'll see. Pound Swiss, stuck in the middle of nowhere. 2 shorts on this last week. Well, I had a short there week before last, sorry, and out last week. Again, look how long that took. 8 days. Literally 8 days to move down by half an ADR. Just pulling teeth. Straight into propulsion. Rebought over and over and over and over again. Now it's kind of rounding up, back up into this area. So it's not even hit resistance yet. It just could go absolutely anywhere. Just flip a coin. Really flip a coin. Pound yen, still got my shorts on this. Been in this since January, beginning of January. First trade taken this year, still in it. Done DD control. Average is 200 ADR. You know, look at where my average is from 9th of January, and we're now here. We literally have had one news event, another news event. Just not going anywhere. Can't do anything with these yens. However, I'm happy to be short. I'm in the right direction on it. It's just need Suzuki or Ueda or someone to come out and say, we've been looking at everything and we feel like the time to change interest rates is getting closer. Just don't want them to come out and say, actually, no, we've had 7 years at minus 0.1. We'll stay there. I'm dead. It's not going to happen, but why? But it's the Japanese, anything can happen. But it's just stuck. So I'm working it basically, as you can see. So I've been working profit out of it, taking profit as I take it, and I've been doing drawdown control. So just working it as a normal drawdown control position. It's not going anywhere. I can't get out of it. So I'm basically just getting profit, using profit to reduce drawdown, to reduce risk size, to reduce everything, get the average closer, you know, just working it because you can't do anything else because it's not going anywhere. So but I'd be sure. To be honest, if you're not in any yens, I wouldn't get into any at the moment. They're just not reliable. So this is the area of resistance we drew on the pound New Zealand. Got that lovely short play down and out into propulsion, bounced out of propulsion, loads of propulsion gaps to the downside. Again, this one will move tomorrow. If it doesn't move off the Australian rate, it will move off the unemployment rate tomorrow evening. So we've got 2 Australasian news events tomorrow, one for the Aussie in the morning, one for the New Zealand in the evening. So lots of volatility on this. So right now, bang in the middle of nowhere. We're just not going anywhere. So this is your previous range high. We broke it. There's your propulsion move. There's your re-add. So the market is long at the moment. However, they're coming straight up into an area of resistance where they have got nothing but sellers. So these are the battle lines at the moment. We're bang in the middle. It's going to bounce up into there, or it's going to drop down into there. Whichever one it does, I will get in and wait. Right now, I ain't doing anything. That kind of says it all. Just a mess. I've had 2 trades on it this year. 1, 2. And it's just the most range-bound thing in the planet. Look at this. Propulsion. Yeah, this is what we had on Friday. Yeah. FOMC. We had FOMC in here, didn't we? In here. And then interest rate. Unemployment rate. Yeah. So we've created a propulsion move. From the propulsion move, we managed to move the market to ADR. We sat there for an entire month and we haven't done anything but move 2 ADR up and down. Not even that. Since that first 2 ADR move, we've literally moved 175 pips, so 1 3/4 ADR. Buy it here. It's either going to retest that and come back and retest that, or it's going to drop down and retest this and then come up and retest that. It's just do whatever the hell you want with it. It's going up and down. So flip a coin, get in. If it doesn't work, get in a bit later and get out. It's not doing anything. And it's not going to do anything until either we go, we're changing, or they go, we're changing. At the moment, and nobody's changing. So we're not going anywhere. That's all we're going to do. So just stuck. Unless there's a war. If we kick off with a war, then yeah, it'll change. But until then, we're waiting on interest rates. New Zealand CAD, nothing. Stuck down the bottom there in propulsion. So we're just retesting this move here. It's taken 3 months. Pretty much 3 months to get back. And we've got loads of upside targets. So more of a long than a short. But right now, short term, it's just we've got the propulsion move up here from the unemployment rate target. Canadian dollar's obviously got its unemployment on Friday, so looking for a pushback up into there at the moment. But there's no, we had an ADR entry on this, so I'm in this long from Friday. Oh, look, we've had another ADR, pound Swiss. So I'm in this one, New Zealand CAD, from Friday. Just waiting for it to do something. So we just had another ADR coming on the pound Swiss. So this looks a little bit like weakness on the Swiss franc side. Yeah, so it's weakness on the Swiss franc. A little bit of strength on the pound this morning. So pound Swiss ADR. So if this pushes up a little bit further, I'll get into a short on it. Good resistance coming up. So this is a weekly low. We've gone straight through it. So that weekly high there that's drawn on is basically the high from last Monday. So it's basically the open of last week. So this whole area there, basically, we are retesting this area and it's held. So good ADR reversal opportunity. You're just about to get a propulsion gap drawn in there. Not just about. In an hour you will, because this candle's literally just opened. So if this carries on pushing up into there, you've got a propulsion target to the downside to aim for. Got a high at 200, and then obviously we're up at the monthly highs there. So ADR reversal. Wait for 5-minute reversal alert. It's going to be a fair distance away at the moment, but hopefully that will sort of do some ranging up here. Get a reversal alert nice and tight. And then try and get out on the propulsion. If it fails, and that doesn't work out to the downside, just be scaling in, waiting for that move to be profit taked and out. So there you go, there's an ADR. Another one. So New Zealand Swiss, that's again, that's the ADR from earlier, but that's because of that massive broker candle there. It's not a real candle. So yeah, that's coming up into propulsion. So potentially, if you look at this, it's very, very nice bearish market structure on this. Very, 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 very textbook. High, low, lower high, lower low. It's actually not, it's high low. But let's start it from there. This is more textbook. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high in propulsion. Yeah. So we're moving from propulsion to propulsion. Yeah. Just basically bank orders going in, adding, new bank order, adding, new bank order, adding, validated it. So yeah, just carry on down basically. Obviously, this is going to change today or tomorrow. Tomorrow morning or evening, depending on the strength in the Aussie. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing, shorts, but it's completely sideways. Look, it's just same as all the other yens. It's not going anywhere. So we got the propulsion move from FOMC, which they're adding to at the moment. So looking for a push down into there, and then obviously we'll either do that or we'll get a continuation short. New Zealand US, same thing, totally sideways. We've had the news. We need to wait and see if the market decides it wants to rally off the back of that or not. If it doesn't, we're going back up into here. Not going anywhere. But this is a nice opportunity to go long from here. Nice reversal alert at monthly support, which seems to be holding at the moment. So they are selling out of this area here, which is potentially a bounce point, but much more likely they're going to push up into that area, I think. And all your US pairs, obviously, flip a coin. It's either going to continuation or it's going to mean revert. So if you look at all these other big moves we've had, yeah. So big, strong propulsion move, big, strong propulsion move. We had a big, strong propulsion move there and there. Yeah, we had a big, strong propulsion move there, big, strong propulsion move there, big, strong propulsion move there. Yeah, every single one of them filled. There, that one there. Now we've got this one here. Yeah, if it doesn't, that's where it's going. So you short it there. But at the moment, we're just, again, same as everything else. Up, down, up, down. Unless there's news, which drives it like that. In which case, then it'll come back up and retest it later. So just wait. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Again, very, very, very sideways on this one as well. We're just getting these couple of day moves sideways for a bit of news, sideways. You know, so looking for a push up into propulsion potentially. If it gets up into this area here, I'll be looking for shorts back down into there. Otherwise, just straight back down into there. But not extended quite enough at the moment. If this US dollar gets a rally today, if we do get a continuation rally on the US, I probably will get some shorts on. But I need it to come up and retest. Just basically an ADR push today would be nice, just to confirm that we are going to continue that move for a couple of days, but then we'll obviously undo it. We've got multiple news catalysts. So we've got the PMIs this afternoon. We might get some positive PMI figures, which will give it a kick. We've got Ivy tomorrow. That probably won't do a lot. There's nothing on Wednesday. So then we're looking for Thursday. So if it'd be nice if it got a kick today, and then we know there's a very good chance on Thursday we'll come back down and start and move back down into those propulsion gaps. But and US dollar yen, I'm in this short. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm in this short. I've been working it the same way as I have with the pound yen. I've been putting shorts out. Yeah, every time I've pulled a short out, I've done drawdown control just to keep on top of it because it's just stuck. It's just a theme at the moment. We are just stuck. There's nothing we can do. But equally, you know, one word out of the yen, out of the Japanese towards that interest rate, this is down here. So, and equally, the other thing we need to bear in mind now with this US dollar yen is we're getting back to 150. We're getting close to the intervention level. So if we do push back up into this 150 off the back of this unemployment rate on Friday, the Japanese are going to start talking about intervention again. Or they will start talking about interest rates again, and they will pummel that back down again. So the market is ready for the interest rate. It just hasn't had the go-ahead yet. And if they start pushing back up into the levels where the interventions coming from the Japanese will be coming down pretty hard. Yeah, so we'll start getting these intervention moves coming in again, where we get sort of 300-400 ADR moves happening in 5 minutes, and they'll be like, slam it. Just give the market a kick to tell it you need to be stopping here. We do not do this. We do not go above 150. So any of you not been in here before and know about interventions, the Japanese don't use interest rates to manipulate inflation. They use overseas investment. So they have a negative interest rate, minus 0.1, which means that you are not encouraged to store money in Japan. You're encouraged to put it overseas. So people buy overseas stocks, bonds, anything overseas, basically, as investment. So all the yen is overseas, which means that at any point in time, they can liquidate those overseas investments, 90% of it in the US dollar. And basically, when they liquidate those investments, they turn it into Japanese yen, which is why you get these huge intervention moves where the market will move up to 800% of its average daily range in an hour or 4 hours or whatever it is. So this is what the Japanese talk about. You'll see it coming through on Financial Juice. They'll be talking about unfavorable FX movement, which is basically a warning shot. If you do not stop devaluing the yen, we will basically liquidate everything in the US and buy yen with it. And the move happens like that. Normally, the market listens. When it doesn't, it gets told. So, and we're approaching this level again. This is where it becomes uneconomical for the Japanese to trade with the US. So it doesn't go above that level. Very rarely. It does. But as you can see, not for... I'm only going back 22 years. So we just don't do it. It's not economical to be done. So there we go. That's every pair. I'm just playing the waiting game as usual. DAX pulled back inside, out the FTSE, second half 1R. So $150, $60, something like that this morning. All a bit meh, isn't it, this morning? Again. Do you take your trades also on fundamental news? No, I don't trade the news. I don't try. I trade when I trade. I don't pay any attention to news. I do pay attention to news, obviously, but I'm a position trader. So if news goes against me, I just take another position and get out. Going to say, I thought I had a pound Swiss trade on. So that's hit ADR 0.37. I'm just going to bank. Take that off. Stick it down there. If you want to know what I do, Max, it's all on the website. It's all flying across the bottom there. I will take a break even on it at this point. Just want out to move my funds out of this broker. Just move all your funds out of the broker. Yeah. So just don't take any more trades on that account. Remove half your funds, stick it in another account, start trading over there. And then just wait for that one to close out. It will close out. Do you see DAX going to 116,350? $16,350? It's miles away. That's all the way back down here. I don't know. Can't look that far ahead on the DAX. It's a stock index. Who's going to release earnings and which way they're going to go? It's nothing to do with where you think it's going to go. Go where the market drives it, depending on what the companies in the DAX do. Do you get into trades manually or automatically? Yeah, all automatic. Everything I do is done with the market reverse alerts EA. Yeah, so I've got VPS running with all 3 accounts. And basically everything is taken with the EA. So the EA is running on all these, on everything here. All I'm doing, literally, so this is the H1 account, this is the ADR account, this is the hedging account. So all I'm doing, literally, is the EA is taking the trades for me based on the strategy, and then I am monitoring the trades and setting targets on the trades. So US dollar yen, probably not a good example, is it? Let's take an ADR. So New Zealand dollar CAD got an ADR hit on Friday. So the EA took the trade. Yeah. So I looked at it this morning and went, okay, we're in long. Let's set a target there. Don't overthink stuff. Just get into the market and wait for the market to move. You don't control the market. The market decides if it's going in your direction or not, and it pays you or it doesn't pay you. If it doesn't pay you, you deal with it. If it does pay you, you take the money. That's literally all you can do. You're on a train. You're on a roller coaster. You can't change the direction. You can't start it. You can't stop it. You're a passenger. So get in. If it goes your way, get out. If it doesn't go your way, get in again. Wait. Do you ever think of starting copy trading? No. You can copy my trades if you want. I'm in here twice a day, every day. Have been for years. You can see what I'm doing. You can see I'm not nothing. You don't need to copy me. If you want to copy me, go and buy the market reverse alerts EA. It's $99. Stick it on a VPS and set it up with these settings. You are copying me because that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just literally using my product to trade my strategies, and it's all out there, and it's done every day in here. So if you want to copy me, do it. Just buy the EA, set it up, let it go. I'm not doing anything clever at all. You don't need to copy me, or I'm not. What I don't want to do is be responsible for your mortgage, your bills, your kids' food. Yeah. If I set up a copy trading account and 500 people start to copy me, there's 500 mortgages which are on the line. If I decide to go, screw the lot of you, and going short 100 lots, you're all going to blow your accounts, lose your houses, and your kids won't eat. Do you really think you should be copying somebody? Anybody? You don't know me. I could be a complete lunatic. At any moment, I could just go, screw it, I don't need this 50 grand. I'm going to short the lot and see if I can double it to 100. You will copy that trade. Learn to trade. Do it yourself. Don't ever copy anybody. 1, you will never get the same entry as me. 2, you will never get the same exit as me. 3, you will never pay the same spread as me, swap as me. Yeah. Even if you're copying me, go and look at a signal on MQL5 Marketplace. And see the variances. Yeah. You will never get the same entry as anybody you copy. Why is my website so slow? It's always in the live stream. Always goes slow. So go and look at any signal. I was going to say I haven't got a signal running, have I? Signals. Just pick one. This bloke, he'll do. Yeah, slippage. You're going to get massive slippage. You're never going to get the same entry and exit as me, which means your account will never produce the same results as me. And why would you want to? Look at my exits. Look how bad I am. I got out there. It went all the way down there. Don't copy me. You could have had 3 times more profit out of that. That was a pretty good exit, I have to admit. That was a good exit as well. But you get the point, yeah? I got out there. That was stupid. I should have got out there. Where was my target? There. Why didn't I let it go to target? Because I didn't want to. Don't let anybody be in control of your money and your account. You make your decisions based on you. I have as much chance of identifying whether the market is going up or down as you do. Yeah. I have no clue. Central banks don't know. Yeah. Barclays, HSBC, Citibank, they don't know which way the market's going today. They can push the market, but they don't know if they're going to get pushed back twice as far by another bank. Yeah. If they don't know which way it's going, how the hell can I know which way it's going? Or you? So you get in and you get out. Yeah. The reason you get out is because there's enough profit on the table. Why did I just close that out? Because it was a decent amount of money, so I took it. Is it going further than this? I don't know. Is it going up to there? Maybe. Is it coming down to here? Maybe. If it's coming down to here, I made the right decision. If it's going up to there, I made the wrong decision. I've got no idea where it's going. What I do know is it's hit ADR, and I do know that 42% of the time it goes beyond that, which means there's a 58% chance it's not going beyond that. Because statistically, I've worked out that when we hit that level, it tends to bounce away from it, which is exactly what it's doing, which is why I've exited. It's also a previous resistance point. Whether or not it's going to pull back into this level and then push back up to there, I don't know. Neither do you. That's how you trade. You don't follow other people because nobody knows. Yeah. If somebody's got a good track record like me, yeah. But don't take every trade that I take because it's not necessarily the right thing to do. I've also got into big drawdown last year, didn't I? I got into 20% of drawdown on my account. That was really, really wrong. Do you want to be in that? You would have produced 120, 130% return, but I don't know whether that's too much for you or too low for you. So you need to make that decision yourself. You've got to trade it yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to know what the best thing to do is. Max, one question. When you are in a position, when you are a position trader, and you don't care about fundamentals because you take another position when it moves against you, why then do you talk about the economic calendar? Because you need to know when the market's going to move and which way it's likely to move so that you can plan your trades. So, as I've been talking about the Aussie today, yeah? I've got no Aussie exposure on at the moment, so it doesn't affect me. But if I did have Aussie exposure, let's say, for example, the pound odd, I know AZ is short on the pound odd. So I need to know that tomorrow morning this is going to move so I can plan to do stuff. Yeah. So this thing tomorrow has a potential to do that or scream out the highs or whipsaw. Yeah. So if I have a position on this and I am in big drawdown, I need to be ready to do something with that position. Yeah, planning. People literally still to this day come into the Telegram group. And they obviously are people. Look, there's 73 people in here right now. There's 4,800 people in the Telegram group. Yeah. 78 of you are in here. Where's the rest? Constantly. Market goes bang. Everyone goes, why did that just move? Why did it move? Why do you think it moved? There was news. What moves the market? News, fundamentals. Yeah. It's the only thing that moves the market. Why did it move on Friday? Well, didn't move out of random, did it? It moved because the unemployment rate came out better than expected. That's why we had 175% on the US dollar, not for any other reason. This is why you need to know about this. When is this going to move? Yeah, don't trade it if there's no time period coming up that this is potentially going to move. If you don't want to. For me, I don't care. If the market moves like that, it's an opportunity to do that. It could do that, but I don't know which it's going to do because I don't have a crystal ball. But I do know that the only way you make money in this market is by the market moving up and down. So I have instruments that tell me when the market's moved up so I can move down with it. ADR, RSI. Yeah, that move there wasn't caused by RSI. That move was caused by a news event. So I took advantage of that news event to get some money out of the market. That's why you've got to be aware of it. Interest rates at the moment are driving the market. The only reason this thing is moving nowhere at the moment is because there is no movement in the interest rates. This entire thing moves on interest rates. If you're an investor right now with $25 billion in the bank, do you want it in the yen or the US dollar? The yen, you will lose 0.1% every day. The US dollar, you will make over 5% a day. Where would you put your money? Into the US dollar? So do you think the US dollar would go up or down? Very simple economics. But if you don't know about it, you're basically pissing in the wind because you've got no idea. And you've got to know when things are moving. What's the impact of that on the pound? Nothing. You don't have to know about it. You know, anybody that, you know, a blind one-armed man could flip a coin with his other hand and press a button long and short and make money out of this market. He's got as much chance of making money as I have with my 15 years experience and knowledge of this thing, because I still don't know which way it's going, but you need to know when. So if I'm going to take an opportunity in the Australian dollar today, I need to be aware that tomorrow I could be in massive drawdown or massive profit. So what's the best thing to do? Sit on my hands, because I don't know which way it's going and I don't want to flip a coin. That's why you follow it. It's just, you've just got to be aware of everything that drives this market. You have no control. It doesn't matter if I'm aware of something happening tomorrow. I still have no idea what's going to happen. I had no idea Friday would be 175 on the US dollar in the opposite direction. If it was, I wouldn't have got into it in the direction that I did. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because I'll just wait for it to change direction. Because it will. Because that's what they have to do to make money. Do I put a final stop? Max, you've just told me you've watched all my videos and you're asking me questions which are basic 101 questions that are answered in the bootcamp. You haven't watched all the videos, have you? Or if you have, you need to watch them again because it hasn't sunk in. I don't use stop losses. Black swans happen once. I've had one black swan happen in 15 years. One. And that was it. The Swiss franc crash. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what you do. Do you think a stop loss got honored in the Swiss franc crash? Yeah. The Swiss franc moved 1,000 ADR in a minute. Do you think anybody's orders got executed? Brokers went bankrupt. Your orders are irrelevant. Black swans don't happen. If they do happen, it doesn't matter. You've lost your money or you... Basically, I was the right direction on the Swissy. I didn't make any money out of it. Why? Because the broker went bust. If I'd have been the wrong direction on it, I wouldn't have lost any money. Why? Because the broker went bust. If a black swan happens, your broker's likely to go bust, or your order will get executed at the level that your order could get executed at, in which case then, yes, you could have a massive, 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 massive hole in your finances. But your stop loss won't get triggered. So it doesn't matter. What's the point? Till you traded through it, you won't know. But I was sitting in the Swiss franc and I was like, why is my broker terminal not working anymore? Where's my account gone? Why has that happened? I couldn't even see it. Yeah, that Swiss franc move, I couldn't even see it because the broker basically had disappeared. So, you know, that candle didn't appear. Ooh, okay. That candle didn't appear because the broker had gone bust. Yeah, look at that move. I mean, the average daily move on this thing is about 126 or 1,265 points. That was 18,800. Yeah. You think if you were long on this here and you had a stop loss there, that stop loss got triggered there? Got triggered down here somewhere. You're bankrupt anyway. What's the point in putting an order in the market? They're not going to execute it. If you're short on it, you had a TP there, your TP would have got slipped down to there. Do you think that would have got paid? No, because your broker went bankrupt there. Doesn't matter, does it? And that's the only one that's ever happened to me in 15 years. We haven't had another black swan. 2015. No other black swans. We don't get them. And the only reason that black swan happened to me, and not to a lot of other people, because a lot of people didn't trade this at that time, because that was pegged. And that I didn't even know what a peg. That day was the day that I learned what a peg was. And from that day onwards, I've never traded a pegged pair in my life. Never traded the Hong Kong, never traded anything that's pegged. Because there is an opportunity for them to remove the peg and for the account to go mental. So don't trade it. People call COVID a black swan event. COVID wasn't a black swan event. It took days. Look at COVID in 2020. This took days to unfold. You didn't. I hedged this. Yeah. To get from, look at the normal price action on a daily candlestick. Yeah. Look at that day. We undid 5 days worth of price action in one day. Do you think the market sat up and went, what the was that? Yeah. And then all of a sudden we put in that. We were like, holy crap, that's not right. You acted there, but that took 5 days. That Swiss franc went from there to there in 5 minutes. That's a black swan. This is a market collapse. You can deal with a market collapse by getting out. But you've got days to figure it out. And we knew that there was a potential lockdown coming. Italy was locking down. We knew this was coming. We knew the market was going to stop because shops stop. Therefore, stock market stops. Stock market stops. You pull your money out of the stock market. You put your money and you liquidate it into other currencies. Where do you put it? The safest place in the world, the Swiss franc. Totally predictable if you knew fundamentals. You knew that safe haven currencies like the Swissy, the yen, and the US would all benefit from a market collapse. But this is stuff you just learn along the way. You don't know this. Nobody teaches you this. You see it happen a few times and you deal with it. You know what to do next time. If ever there is another pandemic, I know exactly what to do. Shut everything down and go and do something else for 2 months. But we've never had a pandemic before, did we? So we were in it. We had to deal with it. We had to hedge and all sorts of stuff. Morning, Tom. Right, that's all I've got for you this morning. I'm done. So just waiting for stuff. Waiting for stuff to move. Indices have got no volume today, so nice clean breaks on both, profit on both, but you know, it's 2R basically, isn't it? So no volume. We'll see what happens with the US this afternoon. See if we get any movement out of the US. Nothing much going on this morning so far. So we'll wait and see what happens with those this afternoon. There's no news catalyst today until 3 o'clock. So this is 30 minutes after market open. So we may have a little bit of a quiet one. However, it is earnings fortnight. So I don't think we've had any announcements this morning. No. Russians have summoned somebody. The Israeli ambassador has been summoned by the Russians. Let's see if he comes back out again. UK PMIs ever so slightly up on the pound. What are we doing? What is it? 2008 collapse. Pairs were gapping all over the weekend. Yeah, I wasn't trading then. So, well, I was trading then, but I wasn't trading in any way, shape, or form that would affect me because I wasn't holding positions. So, 2008 was the banking crisis, wasn't it? Okay. Again, it's a collapse. It's not a black swan. That's not a black swan. When you have incidents like this, you get out. You know what to, you just get out. Yeah. So position trading, day 5, gone from nowhere to 10% of drawdown. The news is going mental. Cut it. Walk away. Take the loss. Yeah. It's 10% of your account, making 120 to 150% a year. Screw it. I did it on oil last year, didn't I? I took a 9% loss on oil. Like, I got this totally wrong. Oil price is collapsing. I'm out. Took it on the chin. What happened 2 weeks later? Through the roof. That's what position trading is about. It's holding those positions within that drawdown and how big are your balls. That's all you've got to do. But this sort of stuff, I mean, you would have had an exit on this. You know, if you'd have scaled in properly on it, you'd have been in heat, some serious heat. But that was your exit and you had it. But you would have been in big trouble in that. But you'll know about it. Yeah, the markets, this is with these days. When I was trading in 2015, we didn't have things like financial juice. We didn't have access to all of this information on. We had access to all this information, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't readily there. We knew what news was coming up, but we just didn't have all of the information we do. And back in those days, there was an awful lot less automation in the banks as well. There was a lot less over-the-counter transaction as well, which today there's much more OTC transactions going on between banks that you don't even see on the charts. So, you know, it's a different world now. It's much more automated, much more run in an orderly fashion. Everything is manufactured to make money, which is why mean reversion works so well. Because if they do that, they've got to do that. If they don't do that, they can't make the money. And a lot of this is algorithmic movement now. So it's just a case of waiting for the banks to get into a position where they're ready to push the button. They do, and then you get out with them. But back then, we didn't. You know, it just wasn't. It was a different thing. This is why you got to adapt as well. You know, this strategy that I run now is brilliant. What's it going to be like when, you know, if the Brazilian thing with China all kicks off? You know, the markets change, so you have to adapt. We might be trading the yuan in a couple of years' time, the real. There's all sorts of stuff that may be happening. World economies change. You know, wars kick off. You know, no one's doing the ruble anymore, are they? Gold price has been completely strangulated because of all the Russian gold. That market is totally different to what it was before the war in Ukraine. You know, everything changes, so you've got to adapt with it. But it is all at the end of the day driven by greed. Yeah, where can I get better money? Can I get more putting it there, or do I get more putting it somewhere else? Those overall fundamentals will still always drive the market. Right, I will leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow. No, I won't. I'll be back this afternoon at 2:20. We'll see what happens with the US markets. But at the moment, they're flat and dead. Everything's dead and flat at the moment. So we'll wait and see what happens with those this afternoon. But we've got news at 3 o'clock. So it might be a case of hanging around for half an hour at the New York Open, but we'll see what happens. It's not a massive one, the services PMI, but we'll see. And tomorrow is the main one. So if you're not around this afternoon, just make sure you've got any Australian profit banked before tomorrow morning, or at least protect it. If you've got a decent amount of profit there and you want to protect it and go for a gamble to see if we get a move in your direction, at least break it even rather than going into drawdown on it. But other than that, there's not a lot else today apart from waiting for some kind of indication as to whether or not they're going to continue or reverse the US move. And so far, no clues. All right. So have a good one. Anything you need, let me know. Other than that, I'll be back this afternoon, 2:20. I'll be in Telegram if you need me. All right. Have a good morning.